Hello everyone and welcome back to the Don't Kill My Vibe gardening channel. Today I'm going to do a layout and a garden plan for you guys with my existing plants that I've started that are currently in pots that are going to be going outside any day now. Our last frost date was actually April 15th, which was a couple days ago, but we have the weather dropping down to the 60s after a few rainstorms before it goes back up to the 80s again. So I'm not totally prepared to put the plants outside just yet, but I do want to figure out where I'm going to be putting them once I'm finally able to do so. So today I'm going to show you guys my plants. I'm not going to walk you through what everything is exactly because I'll save that for my May garden tour, but for now we're just going to put them in their spots and I'll show you about where everything's going to go. So before we start with the plants, I just wanted to show you guys the chickens. They are currently outside just kind of getting used to their new coop. They're currently still in the brooder in my bathroom because, like I said, the weather hasn't been too consistent enough where I feel comfortable putting them outside full time. Apologize for the wind because I can't really control that, but I know you guys can't hear me very well. So here they are, just kind of getting used to spending a few hours outside in their coop, and hopefully by the time the weather is nice enough, they will be ready to come out here full time. And now here is all of the plants that I've been bringing out from the house. These all grow underneath the grow lights in my living room for the most part, and these are the ones we're going to be getting situated today. I also have a good amount in the greenhouse you guys saw in my garden tour. I believe that was the last video I posted. We'll also be moving those out here and just putting them in the spots that I think they're going to be planted in. So we're going to start with the tomatoes because that's kind of the easiest one for me because I've already set up the wooden pikes that I showed you guys. I'll be setting up the trellis on. So these plants are going to go over here. So that's what that's going to look like. These garden beds, I believe, are 4x2s. I could be wrong and it could be 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 4. Tomato plants need 1 square foot, I believe, but I'm going to be giving them a nice even 2 and posting them up in between the 2 square feet so they just have enough room to grow, because these are mostly indeterminates, I believe, and so they're going to actually just keep growing and growing and growing as long as the weather allows them to. So hopefully this is enough space for them to grow tall. But this is where they're going to be planted, not necessarily in this order, but this is where they're going to go. So there are 2 plants that I'm absolutely sure tomatoes benefit from growing next to, and those 2 plants are marigolds and basil. I have 3 different kinds of basil growing over here. I have just this regular one. I told you I wasn't going to go through the varieties, so I'll just save it. I also have marigolds growing over here, and these 2 plants are beneficial because they are highly scented plants that a lot of pests don't like to be around, so that keeps the pests away from the tomatoes. I'm sure a lot of us already know that, but for those of you who don't, I guess we learned something new today. So I'm not saying that sarcastically or anything, I genuinely mean that. I obviously didn't know that from birth, and everyone's got to start somewhere. So for me, I'm going to be interplanting some flowers. I'm trying to go for more of an integrated garden this year, not separating the flowers that benefit pollinators and things like that, as well as the pest control plants and things along that nature. So I'm going to be combining the marigolds as well as some of these cosmos that I have started. This is a tall, kind of lanky plant, and they need the trellis support to grow them long and have nice stems for cut flower gardens or for bouquets and things. So I'm going to be interplanting marigolds and cosmos with my tomatoes. So this is about what this is going to look like. I ran out of cosmos actually. I needed about 1 more, so I decided to put a basil over here, at least for the time being. So we have a basil, cosmo, cosmo, marigold, cosmo, 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 and marigold. For the next bed, we're actually headed into peppers, and for peppers, I wanted to show you guys something really quick. I think it can be really discouraging starting seeds in your house and seeing them grow really slowly or not do well. And I want to show you something that might bring you a little bit more reassurance, because really in gardening, we could do everything right and it still might not be enough. So keep in mind that I started all of these plants in the exact same way. Same dirt, same process, same grow lights and everything like that. The same as they could possibly be with them being different types of peppers. But with peppers, they really should be growing at the same rate, despite the fact that they are different varieties of peppers, in my opinion. These are all 3 different kinds of peppers. So these are the first ones that I started with you guys in a video in March. This is how much they grew, and they're still green, they're still alive, they look pretty healthy, and they're just growing extremely slowly. And this next one is a jalapeno that I started almost a month after those 2, and it's obviously grown a lot more than the others. So don't be discouraged. I think this is the reason why a lot of backyard gardeners with small gardens start so many plants. It's because sometimes it just doesn't work out the way that we think it's going to. So if you watched my last video, my April garden tour, I already talked about what's in this bed, but I'm going to be interplanting all of the things that are in here with my peppers. So I'm just going to put the peppers in here. and just kind of figure it out as we go. Again, things might change. So that's my jalapeno going in with these. I have a feverfew probably going over here. This is a viola, just another little pretty flower to attract pollinators. And then I have space for one more thing over here. My plan for the bed that's to the left of that one is basically the same, to interplant some flowers to attract pollinators along with my peppers. So I'm just gonna place these peppers. They're gonna be growing in 1 square foot each. So we've got plenty of space in this bed for other things. Every year, it doesn't matter how many plants I start, I always end up buying just a couple things from the garden centers. And for this bed, it'll probably be the same. I'll probably grab some marigolds and things like that if I don't start some more seeds in that time by myself inside. But I obviously have a lot more space to put here. I originally had 3 eggplant plants and only one of them is doing exceptionally well. So I was gonna interplant eggplants with peppers, and that just might not be the plan anymore, and that's okay. For the last raised garden bed that I actually have already gone over this in the last video, talking about how everything in this bed is already planted out with the carrots and the peas. When the carrots come out, other things will go in here. I'm thinking a zucchini or something, just giving it a ton of space to grow once I have that space free. But for now, these beds are done. I love seeing the plants laid out like this so I can kind of get a vision for how this year's season is going to go. But we're going to talk about this first bed really quick because I've already talked about this being my cool weather crops. The lettuce is not going to last through the summer. So once all of that comes out, I'm going to be replacing that stuff with the zinnia that I've had growing over here, or zinnia, however you want to pronounce it. I obviously have a good amount of these as well as a few more in the greenhouse. I love the way they look. I grew them last year. It was a super easy flower to grow and also very beautiful. So these will go in after the lettuce comes out. So the last area we have to talk about is this area over here. I've already gone over what's already in the ground, but something you haven't seen yet is I planted nasturtiums in these hanging baskets. They are supposed to attract bugs. They're a trap crop. Things want to eat them more than they want to eat my other plants, and that's why I'm planting them along the perimeter here of my garden. This is where my squash is going to go, and I'm not going to get too much into that because I'm not sure where exactly that's going to go and what else is going to go in here. But for now, this is where the nasturtiums are growing. I have another one here that is hardening off, but once it's ready to go out, it's going to go into this basket here. And if you're thinking, you still have more plants over there that you haven't talked about, that's because I actually have this 3 grow bag planter here that I got from Target. I have celosia growing in it right now, which is like a brain twisted looking flower that is so beautiful. It's going to be a bright fuchsia. As you can see, it's already coming up right here. So I have 2 of those planted here. Something I'm not sure about is what I'm going to put in the center, whether it be another flower or if I try to put another tomato plant in here or something along those lines, maybe a sunflower. I'm not really sure yet, but I do have this option as well as another 3 of these grow bags to put more plants in. So here are the plants that we have left over. I have 3 basil plants, but honestly, I kind of like when they grow in pots and I could just keep them next to my back door. So whenever I'm in the kitchen and need to grab some, it's right there. But again, basil's kind of versatile and good for basically any plant in the garden. So if I need to plant this next to something, I will, and I'll take it out of the pots and put it in the ground. I also want to talk about the straw flowers. I grew these last year. They're beautiful. I think they're the Tom Thumb variety. I could be wrong, but I might put these into the grow bag planters that I showed you guys. And here are the 2 squash that I currently have, but I have a little bit more sprouting in my greenhouse over here, and that'll go into the squash bed. So those are all of the plants that I have to show you guys in today's garden plans. The one thing I've learned in the last 2 years of gardening is that sometimes things just don't go to plan and you just have to go with it. The fun thing about gardening is it's mostly flexible. A quick Google search will tell you what's a good companion plant, and for me, I tried a companion plant, but sometimes I'm just winging it. So have fun in the garden, plant what you want to grow, and just see what happens. So thank you guys so much for watching another video over on my gardening channel. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to be here for the planting and the growing of the summer. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one.